So today is the last talk about the 7 factors of awakening. So I'd like to offer a brief review of the factors from a slightly different angle, sort of see how they all come together. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about the 7th factor, equanimity, which is what we're generally talking about this week. So the 7 factors of awakening alone together wake us up out of the habits and the ways that cause suffering. Each factor can be cultivated alone and should be cultivated alone and together. And each of them naturally leads one into the other, like one opens into the next, until they're all nested together and operating together. So it starts with mindfulness, because everything starts with mindfulness. Everything starts with that particular quality of mind, heart mind, that's unbiased, that's non-judgmental, caring attention to the present moment. Unbiased, non-judgmental attention to the caring attention to the present moment. And while staying present, caringly attending to whatever is happening before it, it begins to investigate the present moment. It starts to see what's going on in real time, moment by moment. And as that interest gains momentum and continues, it starts to bring forth more energy. It's kind of, exciting to see for yourself what's really going on in there and how it's all working. And as that energy and enthusiasm builds, it develops into this brighter quality of rapt attention. That's joy. Rapt. I'm so fully engaged, like this is it, right? And so for a little while we're there, and we can do that for a period of time, but that intensity, it can't last. It can't. It's unsustainable. And so as joy, it feeds on itself, mindfulness starts to notice that that level of joy, right, is unsustainable. And that energy then naturally begins to slowly gravitate toward quieting down a little bit more in the mind, in the heart mind, and in the body. And as it quiets down into tranquility. Now, as tranquility deepens and steadies, it opens into concentration. Now we're able to sit a little steadier, a little quieter, and we can attend caringly to just, what's happening right here, just this. And as that grows, as we grow less ruffled and rattled by the feathers, our own, others, the world, that begins to open into this final quality of equanimity. And so equanimity, what that particular posture is suggestive of, nope, I am willing to stay. I can stay settled. I can stay in the middle of whatever is happening, whatever is coming before me. I can steady myself and stay there. And it takes all of those other factors to really help ripen equanimity. So now I want to say a little bit more about equanimity itself, because it's key to waking up. It's key because it is not getting lost and it's not taking sides. It doesn't have an opinion like that. It's able to see from all angles, 360. And in being able to see and feel whatever is right here, right now, whether it's healthy, whether it's unhealthy, whether it's stressful, whether it's easeful, it's able to look at it all equally. It accepts whatever is arising without craving, wanting more, wanting to hold on, or aversion, pushing it away. It's saying, nope, I can hang right here. I see it. I'm breathing with it. I can see. And it's from that place of stability, of body, breath, heart, mind, that one can really begin to discern how to be skillful with whatever's arising, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. Because in equanimity, there is no difference. It's saying there's nothing special about either one of these. We're going to give equal attention so that we can learn from both. I can learn how to let go of suffering, and I can learn how to cultivate and savor the healthy, the wholesome, the good, the uplifting. Both on and off the cushion, equanimity can be cultivated. And perhaps an easier way to get a feel for equanimity is to start to notice the signs of when we fall out of balance. Because that happens far more frequently than us being nice and steady and even with whatever's arising. So it's good that the opposite arises with enough frequency that we can begin to investigate that. We keep training to see when and how we are holding on and holding in and holding up, when we're listing to one side or the other, or contracting in on something or around something, or fixating. Got it, right here, right? We learn to feel that kind of clenching. That's a sign from this organism saying, hey, you've just gotten caught up in something. You've just gotten identified. Let's figure out how to cool this out. That's what it's saying. So we want to begin to notice these kinds of things. Notice what's happening in the body. Periodically check in there. Periodically check in with the heart, with the attitude with which we're attending. And check into what the quality of attention is like, right? Is it too aggressive? Or can we kind of soften the grip a little bit? And okay, I can stay here. Attending, I don't need to grip onto anything. And as we learn to see these signs, it helps us to figure out, oh, what do I need to do to kind of readjust back to have it feel a little bit more comfortable inside? And this is the thing, is that it's dynamic. Comfort and stability are not like this steady state that we arrive at and never leave. It's wobbly. It's going to be wobbly probably for the rest of our lives, but probably as if we keep practicing, it'll grow less wobbly. So restoring balance is one function of equanimity, and it's an important one if we're going to progress along the path. And it's also considered to be the highest and the most refined of the heart qualities. Hence, it's the seventh factor of awakening. And it is the fourth Brahma Vihara. It is the fourth heart quality that we cultivate: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Equanimity is the ability to hold and bear witness to the many perspectives, right? Doesn't take sides, but we're not there yet. It's not our way to be equanimous, especially in this modern day world when we've been educated to have opinions and perspectives and beliefs and reactions. Those are the opposite of equanimity. I often talk about Kuan Yin, seeing her, she's one of my peeps. She's one of the benefactors, one of the part of the holding environment for me. And so, imagine inhabiting, having such a being inhabit the inner atmosphere of your holding environment. Imagine she's the gracious host who meets all of the guests who come to visit in your sitting or throughout your day. The bully, the one who survived the bullying, the insecure, the sad, the mad, the lost, the fearful, the ashamed, the depressed, the bedraggled, the depleted, the joyful, the kind, the ambitious. Everyone, the whole cast of characters. And Kuan Yin can be each of them with an equal amount of kindness and care and consideration. no sweat. Because Kuan Yin's eyes have been trained to see common humanity in all of us, to see that kindness and compassion are worthy because we humans, because of who we humans are and how we do our best often to try to do the right thing. And we also, because we live here in common humanity, there's a certain amount of suffering that we'll encounter and a certain amount of joy that we'll encounter. And she says, let's meet them equally. The joys and the sorrows, let's meet them equally. So I give her a 5 for hospitality. When people come to visit, when they knock on her door, people come in and they feel safe and they feel welcomed and they feel at home. She mindfully attends that no guest is getting too rowdy. No one can kind of walk all over the other one. And when she sits at the head of the table, mindfully observing and feeling what the cast of characters are saying and doing, how they're interacting, she makes sure they don't get out of hand. But she's not judging, she's not being critical, but she definitely tries to redirect so that everybody has a voice. Everyone deserves to be equally heard. So mindfulness, mindful caring attention monitors for unkind words and actions, for being lost or confused travelers. She keeps an eye out for anyone who's getting overwhelmed and helps them to restore balance. This is what we're kind of feeling. How do we do that? This is essential. Learning to keep an eye out for danger, for the swings in mood and opinion and judgment, and then learning how to gently kind of reorient back into the holding environment, back into a guest house that feels truly welcoming. What the game is that you're being invited to play here is every time, like we're gonna play around with this in our meditation practice. We're gonna play with setting up the holding environment, and then we're gonna, begin to play with what passes through the screen, by the screen of the mind, and we're gonna learn how to sit there calmly and observe, right? And when we caught, when we find ourselves getting pulled off balance, how quickly can we come back and restabilize? How quickly can we reconstitute the holding environment? Make it a game, keep it light, be playful. Why not, right? Why not? Then every time you play the game, whether you're on or off the cushion, every time you remember to notice, we're developing the skills then of being able to come back and restore balance. And this skill, this is a building block to equanimity, to being able to stay present to whatever is happening. But we're not there yet. Meet yourselves where you are and practice and repeatedly practice. It takes practice and repetition to do this. And gratefully, as lay practitioners, we have plenty of opportunity, right? But just remember to not get heavy-handed. That's super important, because then the play leaves, and who wants to do that? It's just like grunt work. We're learning how to stay in the middleness of whatever's happening and not get caught and pulled off by the dramas. So I'm just going to say, set up a little bit of the next meditation, and then we're going to do it. All right. We're going to first set up the holding environment, and then we're going to play the game of maintaining or practicing the skill of balance. So we're going to imagine, once we get into the holding environment, that we're sitting next to a stream, on the bank of a stream. And in the stream floats by all of the thoughts and the feelings and the body sensations that are happening all in here. It's just like the current running through. And we're going to keep trying to do our best to stay steady, grounded in our seat, caringly watching as things pass by. And when we start to notice that we're getting pulled off, maybe we notice that the breath suddenly tightens, or the body, the shoulders go up, or the mind spins out, or the mood starts to sink. Well, we do our best to kind of reconstitute the holding environment, tidy up the body so it feels comfortable, tidying up breathing, tidy up the heart mind so it feels kind and caring. And then we begin again. And your job is to see how quickly you can do that when the mind wanders away, when we get distracted and pulled out of the holding environment. How quickly can we reconstitute? This is such good practice. And this is truly for our welfare, because the more we do this in daily life, we will not be getting pulled off and getting pulled into a reactive state. We'll learn how to hold our ground and how to see more clearly and make good decisions. All right? All right. So now we're going to play. Thank you so much for your kind attention. All right. Now turn those kind eyes to the body and just see how it feels. Open it up with the breath. So we open up the inside of the body with the breath. Let's open up the exterior by moving it a little bit, moving the limbs to whatever degree they can. Give attention to the torso, because this is where we feel a lot of the breathing. It happens in the chest, in the abdomen, the side body, the back body. So twist and turn. Breathe. Give yourself whatever props you need so you can sit as comfortably as possible or stand as comfortably as possible. And if it's helpful, and I think it is actually for visualizations, but gently close the eyes and settle your attention into the interior and feel into the holding environment, to an embodied posture of unbiased, non-judgmental, relaxed, caring attention. Sense into the attitude of welcoming and allowing. And keep allowing the release to happen throughout the whole of the meditation. And gently begin to notice the base of the body a little bit more distinctly, the ground on which you're sitting. And imagine that that place is the bank of a stream. Not too big, not too small. Water's always running. And in that stream are all of the thoughts and the feelings and the body sensations and the breath sensations that keep arising and passing away, moment after moment. And see how long you can sit there without getting distracted by anything that's in the stream. And when you do, when you notice, you gently take a breath and you bring the attention back in the body and you reconstitute the holding environment. And then you begin again. Just sitting on the bank of the stream, watching the thoughts and feelings and moods and sensations pass by. And for the last 5 minutes of the meditation, just let go of the instruction and settle back and just be and breathe. And just breathe in a few drops of appreciation and gratitude for your own practice and for the practice of all of those who have joined us today. Thank you all for your practice.